Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Today in English Folio, we are going to discuss the question paper of UGC NET October 2020. In this particular video, we are going to discuss 10 questions from the morning shift of English literature. I hope this video will be helpful for all the UGC NET and JRF aspirants. So if you haven't subscribed our channel yet, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you don't miss our latest updates. Okay guys, so without any delay, let's move on to the questions. The first question is, which one of these statements define the scope of semiotics? Option 1, semiotics studies the sound system of a language. Option 2, semiotics is a study of sign systems. Option 3, semiotics studies human sign system only. Option 4, semiotics is a study of non-human sign system only. We know that semiotics is the study of signs and symbols and their use of interpretation. This concept was first introduced by the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure and the American philosopher Charles Sanders Peirce. There are 5 semiotic systems, which includes the linguistic, visual, audio, gestural, and spatial system. Some common examples of semiotics will be the traffic signs, the emojis, or the emoticons that we use in electronic communication. So let's have a look at the options again. The first option says that semiotics is the study of sound system of a language, which is incorrect. The study of the sound system of a language is phonology. So the first option is incorrect. The second option says that semiotics is a study of sign systems, which seems to be appropriate. Option 3 says that semiotics is the study of human sign system only. Option 4 says that semiotics is a study of non-human sign system only, which are both incorrect because semiotics studies both the human system and non-human sign system. So the correct option is option number 2. Semiotics is a study of sign systems. Okay, moving on to question number 2. We have a match the following. In list 1, we have a list of authors, and in list 2, we have a few names of texts. So the names of the authors are Michel de Certeau, John Fiske, Pierre Bourdieu, and Janice Radway. In text, we have distinction, reading the romance, understanding popular culture, and the practice of everyday life. So the practice of everyday life is a book by Michel de Certeau that examines the ways in which people individualize mass culture, altering things from utilitarian objects to street plants, to rituals, laws, and language in order to make them their own. It was originally published in French. The work Understanding Popular Culture is written by John Fiske, where he argues that popular culture is deeply contradictory in societies where power is unequally distributed along the axis of class, gender, race, and other categories. Here he examines the different facets of popular culture using commodities such as denim jeans, Madonna, the TV show Dallas, and more. Distinction, a social critique of the judgment of taste, is a 1981 book by Pierre Bourdieu, based upon the author's empirical research from 1963 until 1968. It is a sociological report about the state of French culture. Distinction was first published in English translation in 1984. Now, Reading the Romance is a book by Janice Radway, which analyzes the romance novel genre using reader response criticism. It was first published in 1984. So, matching the authors with the text will be something like Michel de Certeau, The Practice of Everyday Life, John Fiske, Understanding the Popular Culture, Pierre Bourdieu, Distinction, and Janice Radway, Reading the Romance. So the right option here is option number 3. Okay, now question number 3. Which one of the following is correct about Saussure's analysis of a language? Option number 1. La langue is a system of a language. Option number 2. Parole focuses on the language as a system at a particular time. Option 3. La langue is a particular instance of speech and writing. Option number 4. Parole is the study of language over a period of time. We know that langue is the system and capacity of communication that we all possess. It is an inherent idea about the language and its system which we all possess. On the other hand, parole is the actual action that we engage in when we speak. So considering that, the only correct option here is option number 1. Lang is the system of a language. Question number 4. Given below are two statements. Statement 1. The Orientalists in British India were not sympathetic towards India's ancient learning. Statement 2. William Jones thought that in imagination, ratiocination, and philosophy, Indians were by no means inferior to Europeans. In light of the above statement, choose the correct answer from the options given below. Both statement 1 and statement 2 are true. Option number 2, both statement 1 and statement 2 are false. Option 3, statement 1 is correct but statement 2 is false. And option 4, statement 1 is incorrect but statement 2 is true. Now, William Jones was a scholar of ancient India, particularly known for his proposition of the existence of a relationship among European and Indo-Aryan languages, which he coined as Indo-European. So he was a British scholar who did acknowledge the importance of Indian learning. So the statement 2 is correct. He really thought that in imagination, ratiocination, and philosophy, Indians were by no means inferior to Europeans. So statement 2 is correct, but statement 1 is incorrect because the Orientalists in British India were sympathetic towards India's ancient learning. So the right answer is option number 4. Statement 1 is incorrect, but statement 2 is true. Moving on to question number 5. Who among the following linguists proposed the terms competence and performance? Option 1, Noah Webster. Option 2, Steven Pinker. Option 3, Roman Jakobson. And option 4, Noam Chomsky. The terms competence and performance were introduced by the American linguist Noam Chomsky in his work Generative Grammar. Linguistic competence is the system of linguistic knowledge possessed by a native speaker of a language, and linguistic performance is the way a language system is used in communication. So these concepts, competence and performance, is very much connected to the concept of langue and parole introduced by Saussure. So here in question number 5, the right answer is option number 4, Noam Chomsky. Question number 6. Which two of the following are the titles of the sections in Thomas de Quincey's The English Mail Coach? A. The Glory of Mobility. B. The Vision of Sudden Death. C. The Glory of Motion. D. The Vision of Unexpected Truth. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. Option 1, A and B only. Option 2, A and D only. Option 3, B and C only. And option 4, B and D only. The English Mail Coach is an essay by the English author Thomas de Quincey. It is a 3-part masterpiece which appeared in 1849 in Blackwood's Edinburgh magazine. The first part is titled as The Glory of Motion. It is devoted to a lavish description of the mail coach system then in use in England and the sensation of riding on the outside upper seats of the coaches. In this part, De Quincey discusses the grandeur and power of the mail coach ride prior to the invention of railroad. The mail coach represented the ultimate in transportation then, in speed and force and controlled energy. Part 2 is titled as The Vision of Sudden Death. It deals in great detail with a near accident that occurred one night while De Quincey, intoxicated with opium, was riding an outside seat of a mail coach, and the driver fell asleep and the massive coach nearly collided with a gig bearing a young couple. Part 3 is named Dream Fugue, founded on the preceding theme of sudden death. It is devoted to De Quincey's opium dreams and reveries that elaborated on the elements of Part 1 and 2. So here the titles taken from English Mail Coach is The Vision of Sudden Death and The Glory of Motion. So the only right answer here is option number 3, B and C only. In question number 7, we again have a match the following. In list 1, we have a few lines taken from poems, and in list 2, we have the names of those poems. So list 1A, The Monuments of Unaging Intellect. B, In the Foul Rag and Bond Shop of the Heart. C, So mastered by the broad blood of the air. D, As very-hearted as the hollow moon. List 2, we have the name of the poems. 1, Leda and the Swan. 2, Adam's Curse. 3, Sailing to Byzantium. And 4, The Circus Animal's Desertion. Choose the correct answer from the option given below. So, The Monuments of Unaging Intellect. This line is taken from the poem Sailing to Byzantium by W.B. Yeats or William Butler Yeats in 1928. In this poem, it uses a journey to Byzantium or Constantinople as a metaphor for a spiritual journey. Now, the second line, in the foul rag and bond shop of the heart. This line is taken from the poem The Circus Animal's Desertion. This is again a poem by W.B. Yeats, which was written in 1939. In this poem, the speaker is searching desperately for a theme, perhaps an idea, inspiration, or central meaning that will allow him to understand all that has happened to him in his life and that will inspire him to write. Now, the third line, so mastered by the brute blood of the air. This line is taken from the poem Lada and the Swan by W.B. Yeats, which was written in 1923. So, this is a poem which retells the story of the Greek mythology, where a girl named Leda is raped by the god Zeus, who had assumed the form of a swan. The final lines, as very-hearted as the hollow moon. So, these lines are taken from the poem Adam's Curse. This poem was combiningly written by Dennis Donahue and William Butler Yeats in 1904. So, in this poem, the poet is describing the difficulty of creating something beautiful. The title alludes to the book of Genesis, evoking the fall of man and the separation of work and pleasure. So, the right option here is option number 3. Question number 8. Which two of the following oppositions are best evoked by Hamlet's utterance to be or not to be? A. Between life and death. B. Between action and emotion. C. Between affirmation and confirmation. And D. Between doing and abstaining from doing. Choose the correct answer from the options given below. If we consider the play Hamlet, we know that there are taking place a lot of life and death situations. Throughout the play, life indicates certainty and death indicates uncertainty. And if we consider the situation of Hamlet, we know that he is confused about murdering the assassinator of his father or abstaining from it. So it is about doing an action or abstaining from it. So here the 2 points that is best evoked by the utterance to be or not to be is between life and death and between doing and abstaining from doing. So the right answer here is option 1, A and D only. In question number 9, we have an applicable level question. Given below are 2 statements. One is labeled as assertion A and the other is labeled as reason R. Assertion. Research methods are a range of tools that are used for different types of inquiry. Reason. The tools used in research are products of the situation in which they are applied. In light of the above statement, choose the correct answer from the options given below. Here the assertion A and R both seems to be right because research methods are a range of tools that are used for different types of inquiry and the tools used in research are products of the situation in which they are applied. But A does not seem to be the correct explanation for R. So the right answer here is option 2. Both A and R are true and R is not the correct explanation of A. Okay, so the final question for today is, which of the following poems by Philip Larkin deals with the trauma of a rape victim who says, even so distant I can taste the grief? Option 1, Deceptions. Option 2, Faith Healing. Option 3, Sad Stiffs. And option 4, Wild Oats. So the poem Deception by Philip Larkin tells of the aftermath of a young woman's rape and the way both the rapist and the victim were changed. The poem begins with an epigraph taken from Henry Mayhew's work London Labour and the London Poor. Now the second poem, Faith Healings. It is about a procession of women who prays with a faith healer and are then subjected to new torrents of emotions. Sad Steps is a poem by Philip Larkin which invokes several different voices and holds them in balance with each other. The title of Philip Larkin's Sad Steps is a reference to Sonnet 31 from the sonnet sequence of Astrophil and Stella by the Elizabethan poet Sir Philip Sidney. And finally, Wild Oats is a narrative poem popular for its theme of hopelessness. So the right answer for this question is option number 1, Deceptions. Okay folks, so that's all for today. I really hope this discussion was helpful for you. Thank you so much for listening and stay tuned for our next update.